So the time has come to start working on the Monarch Lathe gearbox. According to some guy in my comments, it's no big deal to take one of these apart. So, but we'll see. There's a lot of gears and shafts and stuff, so I'm gonna have to get this, be pretty careful with how it goes apart so I can get it back together again. The main issue with it right now is there's a shaft that goes in here that changes your feed from forward to back, and there's a fork that moves back and forth, and it's driven by a shaft, and those two aren't really connected. I think the key is missing, and there's just a set screw that's supposed to hold the key in place, but I'm not sure. That's what I'm picturing. And then also there were metal filings in the gearbox when I bought the lathe, like actual curlicues, like somebody machined with the cover off or with this, probably the fill cover off, and got chips inside here. So I'm gonna clean those out, clean it out, get it set, probably repaint it. I would really like a new paint job on this. This is just house paint, which just is impossible to clean. So, new paint job, rehab this thing. So I'm gonna pick it up with the crane and move it this direction so I can get to both sides of it. I also want to take off the apron. Yeah, is there enough room for?
Oh yeah, you got 4 feet here. You can come closer if you want.
Well, I mean, for a bench.
Yes, I mean,
Yeah.
the bench isn't 4 feet wide
No, but it'd be nice to be able to walk
between.
between.
Yeah, that's plenty. I think there's.
Well, it's also, you have this fantastic.
You can readjust.
The first thing I'm going to do is drain the oil from the gearbox. The drain plug's up underneath there. It's going to go into the funnel. From the funnel down into a relatively clean pan. I'm not going to reuse the oil, but I want to see how much crap is in there. One of the things I did was put in a magnetic drain plug. You can see it's got a bunch of paste on there. So it's like metallic paste. So all that was in the gearbox. So that's all the ground up metal filings that have been pulverized. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of this stuff. We flushed it for, I think there's one of my videos, previous videos I showed us flushing it. So we flushed and flushed with diesel fuel around and around and brushed as best we could, and it's still got stuff in it, so got to take it apart. So the first thing I'm going to do is take off all these oil lines just so I get better access down inside. You can see I stuck on some magnets in here the last time I was inside, and they're all pretty fuzzy with metal filings, so but no big chunks, so that's good. There's a couple more down at the bottom which might have some more, so I'm going to get that. That's my gasket. And I spent time making this rather than dealing with the silicone. So I'm going to try to pull out the main shaft first. Looks like that one's on top. So I need to take off these collars here, and I believe that sets the preload for the shaft and the bearings, and then there's a bunch of other stuff. So first thing I do is take off the collars. I'm not sure exactly how this comes apart, but there's no threads on the outside of these. They're smooth, but there's threads on the inside. So I think they're pins that you're supposed to pull out by threading something into them and pull them out. So I got the safety wire off already. So hopefully that's what you're supposed to do. We'll see. So this one's really stuck, and on the long pins, the hole doesn't go all the way through, so I can't do what I did on the other one and just pull, just crank it down to the bottom and have it lift out. So I've got this set up, I've got a socket and washers, and that should act as a puller and pull that pin right out. Well, something's happening. There we go. Pin is out. So I couldn't figure out how to get this ring off. There's two screws or set screw in there with the half threads, but it was loose enough that I was able to just pry it off. So that doesn't help me at all, but I get in a little bit closer. So I'm having trouble getting the shaft out. I think I need to take off these little set screws here. There's a set screw there, and then there's one on the other side, or there's a few more of those. So I need to take those set screws out, and that'll loosen up this gear on the shaft. Then the shaft should drive out that way. almost lost it. Stick to everything else. Things are moving.
Moved a little.
Okay.
You can tell because my finger was, yeah, it's tightening, it's loosening up.
Okay, so it is going.
Yeah, it's good.
Things are moving.
Moved a little. It's loose. It's it.
Yeah. But that does tighten up too. Oh wait, so this whole thing came up now.
Yeah. Yeah. But then it stopped. You were hitting it and it wasn't going anywhere.
So these bearings aren't terrible, but there's some little divots in them, in some of the rollers, that were probably chips that ended up getting in the rollers. So, it's a heck of a bearing up here, the size of that thing. And then the back one, oh, let's see if we get that into focus. Same thing. It's not perfect. There's a few little dings here and there. Well, we've got the shaft pulled forward far enough so that pieces are going to start falling off if we continue. So it's getting late in the day, so we're leaving it here, or I'm leaving it here until probably tomorrow. I'll get up here and pull the shaft out, get the bench all cleaned up, have a spot for everything, and then lay out all the pieces. So, and then that'll get me in far enough to see the reversing fork. I played with it a little bit, and it seems like it just slides out.
Yeah, so as pieces come off, maybe put them on the bench there in the order, maybe up in the right.
Yeah.
Up, down, upside down.
Let's see. Yeah.
Keep going.
Yep. So this is obviously way too big of a project for just one video. So I hope you subscribe to follow along with the rest of this project. I'm hoping to finish this project this winter before we get rolling with firewood and haying and other summer building projects. I am planning on documenting this entire process. However, since I've never taken a lathe like this apart before, there's probably going to be a bunch of fumbling. So I'm considering doing a video series on how to take apart or take out each individual shaft. So if you're interested in seeing that, let me know in the comments below.